Boa noite, pessoal. Nós estamos aqui com mais um Resident TV. Já é o Resident Evil 18 e este é o segundo do mês Resident Evil 5, ou Resident Evil 5 Month, né? Como os nossos amiguinhos gringos conhecem e já estão conhecendo, né? E nós temos um convidado muito especial hoje, mas antes da gente falar do nosso convidado, vamos dar boa noite para quem está no chat, não é? Como o Flag disse, a gente está tudo com as coisas meio improvisadas aqui, né? Então, se por um acaso eu me perder, por favor, tá? Dê um desconto. Vamos lá. Então, quero dar boa noite para Bruno MSPHB, Cop to Smoke, Michel Caldas, Miss Valentine, Natália Vale, Outbreak 2236, Rubinox, Samila Bolzan, Shadow Health 13, Shani, Silver Dark 17, Tinker Pink 32, Tyrant 002, Hollister, Wesker Mid, Wild Dark Angel, Winchester, TRB e Una Lance. Pessoal, muito obrigada pela audiência. A gente fica muito feliz dessa repercussão do programa e podem ter certeza que o Reuben também fica muito feliz. Aren't you happy, Reuben, with the repercussion of the show?
Absolutely. Hola, everybody in Brazil.
So please introduce yourself a little.
Well, my name is Reuben Langdon, and let me know, are you going to translate like halfway through? Do I need to take beats?
We are going to translate after you speak.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So my name is Reuben Langdon. You guys probably know me as the motion capture actor from Resident Evil for Chris Redfield. I started as Chris in Code Veronica many, many years ago. And then I reprised my role doing the motion capture for Chris in Resident Evil 5.
Bom, se vocês entenderam, né? Caso não tenha entendido, vou repetir. Ele se apresentou, disse que é o Reuben Langdon, que ele foi o ator que fez o Chris em Code Veronica, e depois ele reprisou o papel como Chris Redfield no Resident Evil 5. Então, we have a few questions for you tonight.
Okay.
Well, it's not tonight in there, but it's tonight here in Brazil, so...
It's getting close. It's not quite night, but we're getting there. People are leaving work.
Okay. So, Reuben, can you tell us for how long have you been working with Capcom?
Wow, many years. I guess I started working with them, of course, first with Code Veronica, Resident Evil Code Veronica. But believe it or not, I was more working with Sega because that was an exclusive title for the Dreamcast at the time. And then, so I was mostly working at the Sega studios in Tokyo and with Sega producers, and then there was a few Capcom people there, but it was mostly under Sega's production.
Bom, eu perguntei para ele há quanto tempo ele trabalha com a Capcom, e ele disse que ele começou trabalhando no mocap do Chris no Code Veronica, mas que na verdade ele trabalhou muito mais com a Sega, no caso, do que com a Capcom em si, porque o título era exclusivo pro Dreamcast na época, né, que era um console da Sega. And so you did the mocap for Chris on Code Veronica.
Yes, so after I had done the motion capture work for Chris then, I was the only, I guess, native English speaker for that project, and everybody else, all of the other performers doing the motion capture, they were Japanese performers, Japanese actors, and that game was going to be released only in English, with Japanese subtitles, or, you know, if it was going to be released in Brazil, maybe Portuguese subtitles, or depending on which territory it was going to be in, it would have different subtitles. So it was kind of a unique experience because they asked me to perform my dialogue in English while the other performers spoke in Japanese. and I speak fluent Japanese, so I could understand the other performers, but I had to tell them what I was going to say and when to stop, so they could listen for my dialogue. And then it was a very weird kind of acting experience.
Weird and difficult, probably. Bom, o que ele estava explicando é que no processo ele era o único ator que falava inglês e todos os outros que faziam o mocap falavam em japonês. Como ele entende japonês fluentemente, ele entendia o que os outros falavam, mas os outros não entendiam o que ele falava. Então foi uma experiência muito, muito estranha para ele, né? Esse negócio de ter que explicar toda vez o que ele ia falar, né?
So, because of that experience, a few years later, I had moved back to America, and I had started a company with my partner who lived in Japan, business partner, and we started our company, a film production company called Just Cause Productions. And at the time, we were a new company. We needed to get experience doing productions and things. And I returned to Capcom, and we pitched to them doing motion capture using native English speakers from the beginning. And my partner and I suggested that we, as a production company, could handle getting those performers from America and handling the auditions, the casting, and getting the performers to Japan. And so that was a little bit of a break, but we worked on our first game as a company working for Capcom was Resident Evil Outbreak Part 1.
Really good. And I know you worked with Outbreak 2 as well. Am I right?
Correct. So they Capcom, I guess they got a good result for doing the motion capture with us, or having us handle the performance casting and taking the actors from America, bringing them to Japan. We worked we had a good time. Everybody had a good time. It was easy, and it took I guess Capcom was scared, or they didn't know who really to contact in the States to do this kind of thing. It seems like they had always wanted to do it, but they didn't know how. So our company, we did the first test, so to say, with Resident Evil Outbreak 1. It was a very good result, and then we went back for Outbreak 2, and then finally Devil May Cry 3.
Great. I'll just pass it to everyone. I'll just translate it. Bom, resumindo, como vocês podem ter percebido, tá uma noite chuvosa aqui. It's a stormy night here em São Paulo.
Okay.
Pra dar aquele clima de Resident Evil, né, gente? Afinal de contas, a gente tá falando de Resident Evil, né? Bom, então resumindo, que ele explicou que por causa disso, desse trabalho de mocap, ele criou uma companhia junto com o sócio dele, com o amigo dele, que é a Just Cause Productions, que é a empresa que hoje fez o mocap do Resident Evil 5. Mas a primeira experiência que eles tiveram, na verdade, foi com o Outbreak 1. Depois eles voltaram e fizeram o Outbreak 2 e depois o Resident Evil 5.
Aparece inclusive nos créditos a Just Cause.
Sim, com certeza. Então o que eles fizeram foi levar atores americanos para o Japão, para poder fazer o processo lá de motion capture. E depois eles voltaram de novo, fizeram mais uma vez e depois eles fizeram Resident Evil 5. Could you tell us how different it was to make the mocap process from Chris Redfield, from Code Veronica, to Resident Evil 5?
Well, originally for Code Veronica, the system we used was ancient, a very old system called a tethered system, and it used magnets and gyros, like what you can find in your iPhone. But we had to be tethered in the sense with wires attached to our bodies, and it was very limiting. So it limited our movements. I did some stunts with it, but it was we'd get tangled up, and we'd have to have a separate person walking around following us with the wires to make sure that everything, we don't trip. But since then, the technology's been developing. I'm sure you've seen an Avatar and the behind the scenes, and also some of the other motion capture movies, maybe even behind the scenes of Resident Evil 5. We use reflective dots that don't require wires, and they're just reflective tape made of sponge, so when we can fall on them, it doesn't hurt. And I think the key difference was the technology, and we weren't as tied up, so to say, with wires.
Ok. Bom, eu perguntei para ele como foi o processo de mocap do Code Verônica para o 5, né? Qual foi a diferença, e ele disse que era muito precário na época. Era tudo muito primitivo, que eles tinham que ficar andando sempre com os cabos pendurados, né, pelo estúdio, e vários terminhos técnicos, né, que ele utilizou também, que a gente, como nós não somos técnicos, a gente não conhece muito bem. Mas é isso, e já pro 5, não, eles usaram toda aquela tecnologia que a gente já viu em making off, que a gente já viu em foto, o próprio Alan, a gente viu, que eram pontos reflexivos, né? Eles eram pontos refletores, na verdade, né? Eles eram pontos refletores que faziam aquela, como se fosse um espelho, né, dos movimentos. E na época do Code Verônica, não, né? Não tinha isso, era muito precário, mas, de qualquer forma, eu acho que foi um ótimo resultado, né? I have a question for you from a friend of mine called Aya Fortuna. She's a Sweden singer, and she has recorded an album called Resident Evil Tribute Album with us. And cool. First, she said she wanted you to hear the songs.
Okay.
So I'll send you the link afterwards. And
all right.
She said, question for Reuben. I found out that you've been doing a lot of stuff in Japan and that you can speak Japanese. I'm a singer from Sweden, but moved to Tokyo because I wanted to sing in Japanese. How did you end up in Japan, and what do you think of the country?
Well, first I must say, do you need to translate the question for your listeners?
Afterwards.
Or is it okay?
After your answer, I can translate everything.
Combine it. Okay, awesome. So first of all, Japan is an amazing place. I really, it's my home away from home. I feel more at home there than I do anywhere else in the world. I joke around, and people have joked around maybe my past life, must have been Japanese. But I really, really love it. And I went to Japan at the age of 19. I bought a plane ticket and went there. It wasn't such a spur of the moment. I did plan for it. I had saved up money after I graduated from high school, and worked really hard and saved money and bought a plane ticket. Went to Japan and fell in love with it the day I got off the plane. I had always been a fan of anime and Japanese culture and manga and really anything from Japan, samurais and ninjas and martial arts and everything. So, I arrived there when I was 19. I fell in love with the place and the culture and the people, and I ended up living there for 5 years, really, and it was just my career and my love, my newfound passion for acting and performing, which I discovered while I was in Japan, is what brought me back to the States, to LA, to Hollywood, where it's the king of film, king of movies. So that's, if it wasn't for my career, I would probably still be in Japan.
Bom, A Aya perguntou o que ele acha, né, do país lá onde ela mora, que é o Japão, né? Ela é sueca, mas ela mora no Japão. E ele disse que lá, na verdade, é como se fosse uma segunda casa para ele, que ele se sente mais à vontade lá do que nos Estados Unidos. Que ele foi para lá quando ele tinha 19 anos e ele acabou morando 5 anos lá. E lá foi onde ele descobriu a paixão, né, pela atuação. Ele já gostava muito da cultura do lugar, então ele só voltou para a América por causa do trabalho dele, porque senão ele teria ficado lá. And Aya is asking, she's also asking, I also want to know if you still visit Japan and do motion captures here.
In Japan, you mean? I do visit quite a bit. I was there, the last time I was there was in June of this year, doing motion capture for a project I cannot talk about quite yet. But yes, I often go to Japan. My company, Just Cause Productions, we have an office in Japan, and my partner, he runs the office there. I run the LA office. So I'm on Skype to Japan almost every night. In our company, within our company, we have employees, including myself and my partner. We're back and forth between the Japan office and our U.S. office quite a bit, and it's great. Japan is still close, even though I'm not there every day. It's still close by, and I still get to experience, all the great things that come from Japan.
Bom, a Aya perguntou se ele ainda visita o Japão e se ele ainda faz o mocap lá, né? E ele falou que, na verdade, a última vez que ele foi pra lá foi em junho, para um projeto que ele não pode falar a respeito ainda, mas que provavelmente a gente já sabe do que se trata, mas a gente não pode falar, né? A gente não quer causar problemas pro Reuben. E ele disse que, na verdade, ele tem um escritório da Just Cause Productions lá. E ele cuida do escritório em Los Angeles e o sócio dele cuida do escritório no Japão. E que ele fica sempre no Skype e acaba ficando tudo muito próximo, né? O Japão, mesmo sendo longe, acaba ficando próximo dele porque ele tem muitos negócios lá. Então, e ele tá sempre em contato e tudo mais. She also asked, Leslie, I would love for you to listen to my tribute album that I did with ResidentEvilDatabase.com. Love, Aya Fortuna.
Absolutely. Please send me the link as soon as we're done here.
Okay.
I'll listen to it.
Just about that project you can talk about.
Yes.
I guess we already know what this is all about, but
all right.
Well, if it's from Capcom, of course. Or not.
Well, I can say it was a Capcom project, and we captured it originally we captured it in Tokyo. I went back a couple times for this project, and the first time was in Tokyo, and then of course the devastating earthquake had occurred. I was there. I was in Japan during the earthquake. I was in Tokyo, and I was just about to leave. Actually, the other performers had left a few days earlier, but because of my business, I stayed a few days for meetings and whatnot. And the earthquake had happened, so the power issues, with the Fukushima plant, Tokyo was having blackouts, and the second time we went back, they actually moved the capture session to Osaka, and we did the capture there, and it was great because usually when I go to Japan to do motion capture, we usually do it in Tokyo. So this was it was actually a lot of fun going to Osaka and experiencing Osaka.
Okay, can you just answer one question? Is it for a movie or a game?
It was for a game.
Ok. Bom, pessoal, só traduzindo rapidamente, a Aya também pediu para ele ouvir o álbum, né? O álbum tributo, que ela adoraria que ele ouvisse. E aí a gente perguntou para ele a respeito desse projeto, né? Se era um projeto da Capcom. Ele disse que sim. E E ele explicou que, na verdade, ele foi para lá algumas vezes e começou a fazer em Tóquio. Só que por causa do terremoto e por causa daqueles problemas na usina de Fukushima, eles tiveram que mudar o local do mocap para Osaka, né? Que geralmente eles fazem em Tóquio, mas que ele ficou feliz que ele pôde fazer em Osaka. E aí eu perguntei se era para um jogo ou para um filme, e ele falou que era para um jogo. Ele bebeu café depois disso, porque eu acho que ele ficou um pouco nervoso. Okay.
As soon as I can talk about it, I'll let you know.
Okay. Well,
I'm hoping
we kind of know
soon.
Capcom, so we kind of know their schedule.
Okay.
Yes, we are fans of Resident Evil for like 15 years, so we already know what Capcom plans all the time, so we can imagine a few things.
Unfortunately, I will say this, the project I was working on, it was not a Resident Evil title.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I know you guys will probably get your hopes up, but...
Pessoal, infelizmente não é de Resident Evil.
It was a non-Resident Evil.
Estamos tendo um probleminha de conexão.
Sorry to disappoint.
Okay, no problem. Well, more...
Conexão até tremeu depois dessa.
We had a little connection issue for like 2 seconds. I think someone got really angry because it's not Resident Evil related.
I'm sorry. But, who knows what Capcom is doing? They're always doing stuff, so I'm not necessarily involved with everything Capcom does. I'm just an actor, or our company Just Cause. We do, we get hired by them all the time, but there are many other companies doing different things. I'm sure you're aware of the Devil May Cry game that is being developed by the studio in London. What's their name? But anyways, we have nothing to do with the new Devil May Cry game. But we were very much a part of the old one. So, you know what I mean? Capcom's always doing, who knows what they're doing, really.
Yes. But do you play the Resident Evil games?
Absolutely. I love playing the games. I wish I had more time to play the games. I'm too busy making them. I don't have enough time to play.
Oh, but which one is your favorite?
I spent a lot of time playing Resident Evil 4. I had a really good time playing that, just because I had, at the time when it was out, I had time to play it and experience it. 5, even though I worked on it, very extensively, it was my baby for, almost 2 years, producing the cinematics. But unfortunately, I didn't get to play it so much, or I get frustrated because I haven't played games in a while, and the chainsaw guy kept killing me, and you have to play co-op good to get through him, so it's frustrating. But no, I think I've played almost every Resident Evil game there is, but not all the way through, of course.
Have you played the first ones, like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, the classic ones?
Yes, of course. I played Resident Evil 1. It's a very scary story. I played it a little bit, but then when I got cast for Chris to play the role of Chris for Code Veronica, I thought it was my duty. I had to do my research and play the game all the way through. I started playing the game, and then we started doing the capture, so I didn't have time to finish it. But there was a break in between the motion capture sessions, and actually during that break, I had a motorcycle accident in Japan. I broke my foot, and so I was in a cast, and there were still more sessions to come months later, so they told me, as long as I could walk, I would be okay to finish the rest of my motion capture sessions. So with this So I had a lot of time sitting around with my broken foot. So I played through the entire Resident Evil, the first game, all the way through. And maybe I'll keep talking. I know you need to translate, but it was really scary because I went to visit my friend in Akita Prefecture, and Ebina, Mr. Ebina-san, he lived at the time. His house was right next to a graveyard, right next door to a graveyard, and it was very spooky at night because I stayed at his house. He went to work at nights, so I was there at his place all by myself, next to this graveyard, and I had my broken foot, and I just remember thinking, if zombies were to come and attack me from this graveyard, there's no way I could escape because I have this broken foot. I can't run out. And it was very scary. It was more scary because I had a broken foot next to a graveyard at night. It was, very terrifying.
Bom, traduzindo rapidamente, eu perguntei se ele joga Resident Evil, né? E ele disse que sim. E aí a gente perguntou quais são os favoritos dele. E ele disse que ele jogou muito o 4, foi provavelmente o que ele mais jogou. O 5 ele não pôde jogar muito, ironicamente, porque foi meio que o baby dele por quase 2 anos, né, fazendo as cutscenes e tudo mais. Mas que ele jogou, mas que infelizmente o inimigo da motosserra matava ele o tempo todo, então ele teve que jogar em co-op. E aí ele contou também pra gente que ele jogou os clássicos, né? Ele jogou Resident Evil 1 na época do Code Verônica, né? Ele tinha jogado um pouco, aí ele foi contratado para fazer o quiz no Code Verônica. E aí ele pensou, não, então eu vou lá pesquisar, meu dever jogar o jogo. Ele foi lá, jogou metade. Aí ele sofreu um acidente no Japão e teve que ficar mais ou menos um mês em casa com o pé machucado. E aí ele estava na casa de um amigo que era do lado de um cemitério. E ele tinha, né, o amigo dele ia trabalhar e ele ficava jogando. E ele ficava pensando, meu Deus, eu com esse pé quebrado, vai que os zumbis invadem e me matam. E vem me atacar, né? You should have sent this memory to Capcom. They were asking for funny moments from the fans.
Yes, that was definitely my funny Resident Evil moment. It was I think the game scares me. It scares. I think everybody has something like that, but the graveyard and hearing noises, every little bump that happened is like, what was that? But I survived. My foot healed. I finished my Code Veronica acting pieces and moved to America, and then we started doing motion capture here in America.
Your foot was okay? You could run from the zombies?
The foot, okay, it still has some issues, but for the most part, I can do everything, that I could do before. All my skills are back.
Especially running from zombies.
You have no idea how many zombies I've run from. When we do motion capture for games, even for Resident Evil 5, not only was I Chris Redfield, but I was also a lot of the, we call it tiling or background characters. So I was just a random person in the city running and stumbling and falling over. So literally running from zombies. Or on the reverse, I would be a zombie running after myself in the scene. Because in motion capture we can separate things, and it doesn't all have to be at the same time, and they can connect it. So lots of running from zombies and lots of zombies running after people. So
it was you.
Yes.
Bom, ele disse que além do Chris, na verdade, ele fez também zumbis correndo, né? Que são os Maginis, né? Ou Maginis, como a gente acaba falando por vício de linguagem. E que também pessoas correndo dos zumbis e zumbis correndo atrás das pessoas, ele também fez. Então, e ele falou que ele já correu de muito zumbi nessa vida. que o pé dele ainda tem alguns problemas, mas pelo menos as habilidades dele já voltaram. Né? You also did the voiceover process in Resident Evil 5 for Dave Johnson, right?
Yes, that's right, for Dave, for the driver.
Yeah.
And even some random Maginis and what else? I don't know if there was anything else in there, but I did a bit of random stuff, and because I was producing and I was an actor, so they needed some random voices.
Yes,
so we jump in the booth and do some stuff.
You have to be many people into one.
Yes. Believe it or not, I actually did some motion capture for some of Wesker's movements in Resident Evil 5. Some of the more physical acting movements. Ken Lally did an amazing performance for the body motion for about 90% of Wesker, but there was a few moments in the game, in the cutscenes, where Capcom had requested me to even perform some of Wesker's stuff. So it was always jumping around, wearing many hats. That's the beauty of motion capture, is it doesn't matter what you look like physically, it's how you act and how you move your body.
So you had to fight with yourself. Chris versus Wesker. And do you still remember some of the lines you had to do in Resident Evil 5 or not?
Some of them, yeah. I remember a lot saying, "Where's Jill?" or "Jill." A lot of that. And let's see, what are some, that's really the main line. And of course, "Suck on this, Wesker." That was one of my favorites. But yeah, I don't know if there's any fan favorites out there.
Well, you said Jill, and I say Jill. You're like a broken record, you know that? It's from Excel.
Exactly. Exactly. That was an appropriate line.
Bom, ele disse que ele fez também, ele não fez só o Chris, ele fez alguns movimentos mais intensos do Wesker, né? O Ken Lally, que foi o ator de mocap do Wesker, fez 90% e ele fez esses 10% que eram movimentos mais bruscos, né? Já que ele é dublê, ele tem treinamento para isso. Mas que o Ken Lally fez maravilhosamente bem também. E aí a gente brincou que ele estava lutando com ele mesmo. E a pergunta que a gente fez originalmente é que ele havia feito também a dublagem. Ele fez a dublagem do Dave Johnson, que era o motorista, né, naquela parte que os Maginis vêm nas motocicletas e a gente está lá atirando. Então, parte chata pra caramba, né? Pobrezinho do Dave Johnson, Rip Dave Johnson. Mas, e aí a gente, ele também disse que ele lembra de várias falas que ele fez, né? E aí ele disse, "Where's Jill? Jill?" E aí eu brinquei com aquela fala da Excella, né? Jill, parece um disco quebrado, né? Okay, and so I have a question here from... Where is his name? Bruno. His name is Bruno, and he asked if you'd like to have made the voiceover of other characters.
Have I liked to, or have I?
If you would like to have made the voiceover for other characters.
In the Resident Evil series?
Yes.
Absolutely. I love performing. I love acting. So, any chance I get to perform or act any character, I have a great time. So, absolutely. It's funny because originally I wasn't planning on doing the motion capture or even performing Chris for Resident Evil 5. because I was the producer for the cinematics with my partner, we just thought I was going to be too busy producing, and didn't really even consider me as playing Chris, even though I had played Chris before. And we had cast, and we had decided on an actor to play Chris. He was working with me on Avatar, and he had a great voice. We were going to have him do the voice for Chris, as well as the body motion capture. And what had happened is he was on Avatar. So when it came for us to do this video storyboard test, where we shoot like a live action kind of, maybe you saw in the behind the scenes of Resident Evil, where we shot some live action test for this sequence. He wasn't available. He was in New Zealand, busy on Avatar. So at the last minute, Capcom had asked me to basically do the test, and then still during that time, it was our intention to still use him for the main motion capture for the voice, but I would just do the test. But after the test, I had colored my hair brown, dark brown, and Capcom saw the test, and they I guess they liked it so much, they asked me to play the motion capture for Chris, and they would use his voice. So we did that, and then I came to do the recording for his voice, and again he was busy on Avatar because Avatar kept extending, and going for a long time, and he was in. He did the voice for Chris in Umbrella Chronicles 2, I believe, and his name's Kevin Dorman. And so we were going to use him, but again he was busy for the voiceovers, so we ended up using Roger Craig Smith, who I think ended up bringing a lot to the performance. So kind of, it's almost fate, my destiny to perform the motion capture for Chris, because originally we weren't intending for me to do it. But of course I was honored when Capcom accepted me, and they requested that I do it. So, but when it came to the voice, we had a strict request from Capcom, the Capcom producer, Mr. Kobayashi, who was producing Devil May Cry. And we had just finished Devil May Cry 4, and he was very strict, and he said, okay, he actually was a little upset. He's like, Reuben can't play Chris, he's Dante. And then, but then the other producers were like, well, he did a great job for the test, and he was Chris before in Code Veronica. And then he said, okay, well, he can do the body, but he can't do the voice because Reuben is the voice of Dante, and fans will confuse them, and so they didn't even consider me or even think about having me do the voice for Chris. So sorry for such the long, drawn out explanation, but hopefully you took notes and you can remember. You can relay it. If not, let me know.
I have a big memory, don't worry. Bom, resumindo, né, na verdade não era para ele fazer o Chris, né, era para ser um outro ator que estava trabalhando com ele em Avatar na época. Para quem não sabe, o Reuben trabalhou em Avatar, mas acabou não dando certo, porque Avatar foi se estendendo, e acabou não dando para ele fazer. Então, na verdade, ele não ia nem fazer os movimentos e nem a voz do Chris, né? Isso no processo de captura de movimentos, tá? Porque quem fez mesmo a voz do Chris no jogo foi o Roger Craig Smith, tá? Então, ele acabou fazendo depois, né? Mas, na verdade, o Kobayashi foi meio contra. Não, ele não pode fazer o Chris, ele não pode, porque ele já faz o Dante. Não, ele não pode. Não, mas ele se saiu bem como Dante e tudo mais, não sei o quê. Aí ele... Tá bom, mas só que ele não pode fazer a voz, porque a voz ele já faz a do Dante, então ele não pode, vai confundir todo mundo e tudo mais. E ele falou que quem ia fazer o Chris, na verdade, era um amigo dele, esse amigo dele, que na verdade fez a voz do Chris no Umbrella Chronicles ou 1 ou 2, Dark Side Chronicles, ou... o Dark Side Chronicles, no caso, né? Que eu sempre achei que fosse o Roger Craig Smith, mas tudo bem.
Talvez só na linha de vídeo.
Pode ser.
Storyboard.
Pode ser também. Pode
É
ser.
como se fosse uma marcação de movimentos para a voz.
Sim, pode ter sido isso mesmo.
Cria, é um rascunho do que vai aparecer depois no jogo.
Exatamente. Isso. And Bruno is also asking if you have future plans to be Chris again.
Do I have plans? If Capcom asked me to reprise the role, absolutely, I would love to do it. But that's not for me to decide. That's up to Capcom, I suppose.
Well, they are working on Resident Evil Revelations. It's a title featuring Chris and Jill. So maybe.
Right. That's for the 3DS?
Yes. Have you worked on it?
Right. We handled some of the voiceover recordings for the trailer, I remember. But as far as I know, I didn't. There was no motion capture involved, or if there was, maybe they didn't ask me. So unfortunately, I haven't gotten a call for that project.
Maybe they already have
motion cap.
All the movements for Chris, right?
Yeah, could have had already the movements. Sometimes, if it's a smaller portable game, they may use a lot of hand animation instead of using motion capture. So that could be the case because the graphic quality is usually lower, and sometimes the systems, the memory and the game systems can't handle motion capture data. I don't know if that's the case with the 3DS, but I know in the past for other companies, other projects, sometimes they would use more hand animation for the portable games and stay away from motion capture.
Ok. Bom, ele disse que quanto a pergunta, né, na verdade, se ele tinha planos de fazer o movimento do Chris novamente, ele disse que não cabe a ele. A gente falou do Revelations com ele e ele disse que, na verdade, eles fizeram algumas dublagens, né, pro trailer, mas que se fizeram movimento, captura de movimentos não foi com ele, mas aí a gente disse que talvez eles já tenham os movimentos, né, não precisem de mais movimentos.
É praticamente o modelo do Chris do 5, né?
É verdade.
Então talvez eles realmente não precisem de mais captura para isso.
É verdade. E aí ele disse que não cabe a ele, né, então tomara que sim, né. Bom, tem uma pergunta da Shadow Hell aqui, que ela perguntou se além de trabalhar com captura de movimentos, ele também já fez dublagem. Sim, mas vamos deixar que ele conte mais a respeito do trabalho dele como dublador. So, Reuben, besides working with motion capture, Shadow Hell, she's a user from our forums. She wants to know if you have already done voiceover as well.
Before getting into video games, you said?
Well,
what was the?
Well, I don't know. It's before and after and in between.
Okay. Maybe I can explain. So yeah, I didn't do much voice work before getting into motion capture. Actually, my big break into the voiceover world was with Dante and Devil May Cry 3. Before that, I had just done a couple of little minor background roles in some anime, some American English dubbed anime, and then before that in Japan, I had some experience doing voiceovers for some projects, but it was very minimal, and I should say, doing the voice of Dante in Devil May Cry 3 was my big break into the voiceover world.
Okay, what have you done as Ken Masters from Street Fighter? Was motion capture?
No, Ken Masters was also the voice. That was a few years after Devil May Cry. So I guess my key credits, my bigger bigger credits. I have some small ones, but would be the voice of Dante. This is for voiceover stuff. Would be the voice of Dante in Devil May Cry 3 and 4, Ken Masters in Street Fighter, and Date Masamune in Basara, Sengoku Basara 3. And I think those are kind of the key big ones, and then there's lots of little ones here and there for games and also, some anime.
And also Dave Johnson from Resident Evil 5.
And how can I forget Dave Johnson from Resident Evil 5? Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, please, you cannot forget any Resident Evil characters here.
And the Maginis, of course.
Okay. Do you still remember the lines from the Maginis?
I do not. Unfortunately, I wish I knew. I just know. What was it? Moligi Obago or something like that.
There's one that says Papule, Papule.
Yeah, I don't think I did that one. We had a couple performers that actually spoke Somalian. Was the language Capcom chose, and we had them come in and coach, and because there's a limited talent pool of actors who speak Somalian, even in LA. So we had these actors kind of listen to some of. I'm sure for the people in Somalia, they're probably listening to the game and they're like, "What is this?" I'm sure you guys in Brazil have heard some really bad, somebody dubbing something and who's not a native Portuguese speaker, but attempting to do it. And us here in America, if it's anything foreign, oh yeah, it sounds great. That's how unfortunately most of the audience takes things. But we tried our best, and we had some native Somalian speakers coach guys like me and some of the other voice actors in saying a few words in Somalian.
Bom, além dele fazer o Dante no Devil May Cry 3 e 4, ele fez também o Ken, no Street Fighter, e, claro, Dave Johnson, e papéis pequenos também. Ele fez muita dublagem do japonês para o inglês em animes, né? Animes. Porque, gente, eu não entendo muito essas coisas, tá? Então, ele fez também. E quanto a Resident Evil 5, ele fez o Dave Johnson. Fez também alguns Maginis, vocês escutaram ele falando. E ele disse que, na verdade, eles tiveram que treinar um pouco, né, o idioma usado, que foi o Swahili, né? Foi o idioma, e eles tinham treinadores, né, que ajudavam eles, treinadores de voz. A própria Excella, para fazer o sotaque dela, ela trabalhou também com um treinador. A Karen Dyer, para fazer o sotaque dela, trabalhou também com um treinador de voz, né, um coordenador de voz. Porque a gente às vezes vê e acha que é fácil, né? Mas não é. Okay, we have one more question. Actually, we have a lot of questions. Born to Monster is asking a very awkward question. Someone did this question to DC Douglas on an interview, a previous interview we did with DC Douglas. And I'm a little embarrassed to ask this, but do you think
Sure.
Chris and Wesker have a yaoi relationship?
Good question. Anything is possible in these worlds, these anime worlds we live in. So I'm going to leave that up to the fans. I don't think I could answer that. It's not my place. It's truly what the fans would like to think.
I think no.
That's kind of disgusting to me. I don't agree with this idea. But okay.
Yeah, but hey, whatever floats your boat, it's all right.
Okay. Also, another question from Born to Monster is, could you tell us about the process to getting into the character Chris Redfield?
Okay. Sorry. Basically, it's not. I just lower my voice. And I talk like this. He's just a very low guy. Everything is down here. And where's Jill? And that helps getting the voice. I thought you guys might enjoy this. I'm just saying over a picture.
Great.
But talking in a lower voice helps ground him because he's a bigger guy. I just think of how I feel like after I've just lifted a ton of weights, and I'm all pumped and feel heavy and strong, and then I talk low, and that kind of gets me into the physical realm of where I need to be. And I think Chris is just a pretty simple guy. He doesn't, he wants to do the right thing and always is just pretty direct and straightforward with his missions, and just kind of keeping that in mind whenever I deliver some dialogue or have something going on. He wants to save the world and save the girls. That's about it.
He doesn't want to save Wesker. Please.
I don't think. No, he doesn't care much about Wesker. I don't think. I think he's through the years. I think Wesker kind of took a toll.
Bom, pelo amor de Deus, Born to Monster. Ele falou que fica a critério de cada fã, esse negócio dessa relação yaoi entre eles, não sei se é essa palavra, né, porque eu não falo japonês. Mas, enfim, né, fica a critério de cada um. E para incorporar o personagem, ele começou a... Meu Deus. Ele mandou uma foto aqui, Jesus Christ.
Are you looking at the Wesker photo I sent?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Reuben!
Hey, everybody's...
Jesus!
You can post that on your site. Maybe not. Maybe you shouldn't post that.
Yes.
Que é pra mostrar ou não é
Que
pra
não
mostrar?
talvez não devesse ter mostrado. Show everyone, please.
Agora todo mundo...
I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can. Let's see if this works.
Olha, gente, o que o Reuben acabou de
Everybody
mandar.
can see me right now, right? They can see my picture here?
No, they can't.
Vai tirar o nome dele da tela.
Okay. They can only hear my voice, right?
Yes.
Olha
Oh,
isso.
what a shame.
Olha o que ele manda pra gente. Olha o que o Reuben Langdon manda pra gente. Olha isso.
Chega, né? Chega.
That's enough, please, that's enough. Bom, mas voltando à explicação, getting back to the explanation.
Yes, go. Sorry.
Ok. Bom, voltando à explicação, então, para incorporar o Chris, ele baixou o tom de voz dele. E o Chris é um cara muito simples, né? Então, ele simplesmente quer ir lá fazer o trabalho dele e salvar as garotas. E não é o Wesker, hein? Vocês parem com isso. Bom, another question from Born to Monster. He did a lot of questions. He asked, what path after Resident Evil 5 do you think Chris should take?
After Resident Evil 5, well, he's destroyed his nemesis. I say he'd take a vacation, if anything. He should probably, he's riding off in the sunset with Sheva and Jill. I say they should all go to Brazil and take a nice vacation on the beach. Maybe eat some ice cream.
So I have to ask a question now. Have you ever been in Brazil?
I have not. I would love to go, and I'm looking forward. I'm planning to go in March to Game World, and where I'll be speaking about video games and taking interviews and whatnot. So I'm very excited to go. So that's what I think Chris Redfield should do too. He should go to Brazil and take a vacation.
please, when you come to Brazil, let us know when you're coming.
Okay.
Which city are you coming to? And which airport you're going to be. So we are going to visit you at the airport.
Okay. Well, I know it's March 31st to April 1st is the Game World convention, and I'm sure I'll be speaking. I'm sorry, the 30th, 31st, and the first 3 days, maybe even longer. But I'm sure I'll be probably a day or two before, and I'll try to be spending a few more days after, so I can go to the beach and have some ice cream. And I definitely I'll let everybody know. Check out the Games World website. It's in I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Sao Paulo.
São Paulo. We are from São Paulo.
Yes. Okay, so that's where I'm going. Sao Paulo. Excellent.
Okay, we are going to wait for you at the airport. I hope it's not a problem.
Please. Good, I'll have somebody to give me a tour.
Yes. Just let us know when, and we are going to the airport to find you.
Okay, no problem.
With 20 people.
Com umas 20 pessoas, with 20 people with us. All dressed.
Well, that might be a bit much.
Banners and...
Yes, banners and banners like... shit, Wesker! And suck on this, Wesker!
I would love that. Yes, that would be fun.
And Mr. Chris Redfield, we're looking for you.
Can't run.
Yes, we are gonna be dressed as Resident Evil characters and scientists and zombies. That includes science and zombies. So
Cool.
You can expect some 20 crazy people looking for you at the airport.
Okay. Sure. That would be amazing, I think.
Okay, you look scared.
Well, more people, you're like starting to make me nervous, but it'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question from Born to Monster, so I can translate everything to everyone.
Okay.
Is Chris going to keep fighting against the bioterrorism from now on?
I think so. I mean, I think Chris will be, he believes in his cause. After his vacation, so now we're moving on. After his vacation in Brazil, Chris will always be, fighting and doing what's right for keeping, working with the BSAA and keeping global saturation
complete global saturation
happening. But whether it's from Wesker or whoever, whichever bad guy is out there doing stuff, I'm sure he'll keep fighting for the cause.
Yeah, there's always someone trying to do a complete global saturation, so Chris has a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
Bom, primeira pergunta que eu havia feito para ele do Born to Monster é qual o rumo que o Chris deveria tomar, né, depois de Resident Evil 5, e ele acha que, na verdade, o Chris devia tirar umas férias no Brasil, assim como ele, porque ele vai vir para a Games World, que é uma convenção no ano que vem, em março, né, que ele diz?
12, se não me engano. Acho que era 12 de março.
Agora não me lembro, mas depois a gente pergunta de novo. E ele vai vir para São Paulo. E a gente até brincou que a gente vai...
Brincou não, nós vamos.
A gente só não vai com 20 pessoas vestidas de zumbis, né? Talvez de sair de 19, tá
Jalecos
bom.
brancos.
Então. E aí a gente vai encontrá-lo no aeroporto. E ele ficou assustado. E aí depois a gente perguntou pra ele se ele acha que o Chris vai continuar lutando contra o bioterrorismo. E ele acha que sim, porque sempre tem alguém tentando fazer uma saturação global completa pelo mundo. Sempre tem um Wesker por aí. Então ele vai estar sempre lutando pela causa. Ok. We have another question. It's from someone we don't know. It's anonymous. So, do you know who did Claire's mocap in Code Veronica?
Yes. What was her name? I forgot her name. It was a very talented actress. She was. Shoot, I forgot her name. I'm sorry. I think it's. I'm sure if you look in the credits, but it was a Japanese actress.
Ok. Bom, a pergunta era se ele sabia quem tinha feito a mocap da Claire no Code Verônica, e ele disse que ele esqueceu o nome, mas é uma atriz japonesa muito talentosa. E a pergunta também, né, anônima, perguntava também, falou que não entendia muito bem o que ele fez no Outbreak. Ele fez a produção das CGs, tá? Do movimento das CGs, tá? Que é a produtora dele.
Uma das partes principais dos créditos do Outbreak.
Mostra,
isso tem lá no Resident Evil Tube, aparece lá Just Cause, o logo da empresa dele.
Exatamente. We have another question from Bruno. He asked, was it difficult to begin at this career? And what was the character, the hardest character to do?
My whole life has just kind of been step by step. In meaning, I guess for every level of project that I worked on would give me certain skills that would prepare me for the next opportunity, if that makes sense. So I started off doing the B-Fighter Kabuto, which is a TV series in Japan, which is very similar to Power Rangers. And I worked in that show, and that helped prepare me for working on actual Power Rangers in the suits here in America. And that helped prepare me to work with Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung. And then that helped me prepare for working on shows, doing the motion capture, more detailed motion capture work, which then prepared me to work with James Cameron on Avatar. So my life has been kind of a blessed step of opportunity for each level, and I don't really know where to go from here, but it's been taking me down a very unique path, and I've been very blessed doing it. So it's hard to say if it's been difficult to get into this, because I didn't really search and go after motion capture in the beginning. I think in the beginning it wasn't like it is now. It's not an actual, it kind of developed, and I was part of the development process for motion capture and the technologies and how it's been used in film. So was it difficult? Yes. Did I intentionally go after it? Kind of, but not really. And then I guess this question is I'll stop there, and then I'll answer the second question. The second question is about the roles, but if you want to go ahead and translate that.
Bom, então, só resumindo para o pessoal, na verdade, a carreira dele foi progressiva, né? Resumindo, que ele fez Power Rangers, também trabalhou com Jack Chan, e depois ele trabalhou com James Cameron em Avatar. Então, na verdade, foi uma sucessão. Now, please, the second question, you can already answer, because I had it very briefly spoken.
Oh, you briefly did, right? Okay.
Yes.
So, the second question. I'd have to say Dante for Devil May Cry, both 3 and 4, was probably my most difficult role, because I had there was a lot of direction involved and a lot of ideas, and when you're playing a main character like that, it was very different from the way he was in the past, I guess, or each time for both Devil May Cry 3 and 4. Capcom and their producers, everybody had kind of an idea of how it should be played, and as well as the director. And there was a lot of, how do I say, cooks in the kitchen. I don't know if you understand this phrase. Too many cooks in the kitchen. So it made things very difficult for me to take direction, to find the role, and kind of please everybody and go to their expectations. It was very frustrating, especially in the early, first few days of the shoots. But then after that, I would find it, and people would kind of adjust, and then it became okay. That makes sense.
Bom, ele disse que o papel mais difícil que ele fez foi o Dante, né, no Devil May Cry 3 e 4, porque no começo foi muito difícil agradar todo mundo, porque é muito difícil achar o tom, né, pro personagem, mas que depois a coisa rolou mais fácil e aí tudo deu bem certo. Reuben, there's another question. It's from Bruna Lanz. She's asking if you or Just Cause Production have done the motion capture for Operation Raccoon City.
For Raccoon City, we did not do the motion capture. However, we were working on some of the voice recordings. Capcom and Slant 6, I believe, was the company in Vancouver that, or Slant 6, which is now, I think, part of Capcom. So they hired us, and we've been helping them with some of the voiceover stuff.
So I have a question to do. It's about, I don't know if you remember the names of the characters. There's a character called Bertha, and she has a very nice accent.
I'm not too familiar, because I wasn't sitting in on all of those, so I'm not too familiar with all of the casts. Sorry.
Okay. I was going to ask who did that voice, because she really has that really, really good accent. And she is, I think she is German. The character is German, and I simply love the German language. So it was kind of a personal curiosity.
I can find out. Maybe let you know later.
Okay, please. I'd love to.
Sure.
I have 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
Actually, I'd like to make a lot of questions, but
yeah, I understand our time might be limited.
Yes. I think probably your time is more limited than ours. So, okay, here we go. Have you seen the live-action movies from Paul Anderson?
I have, yes. I think I didn't see the third one. I saw parts of it. That's the one in Las Vegas, right?
Yes. No.
The desert one? Something?
The third one was in desert.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I did not see that one all the way through. The other ones I did see, yes.
What do you think of them?
They're okay. Honestly, honestly, I think they're great entertainment. They're fun movies, but because of my attachment to the game side and the game characters, it is frustrating sometimes to see the direction that he takes with the films, in which Sony takes kind of a big different direction. It's still the Resident Evil world, but it's not really, and it's frustrating. And of course, the last movie was great. The 3D was amazing. But again, the direction they took, I was excited and upset and honored and disappointed and a lot of mixed emotions. As you know, from the last fight scene, they actually pretty much tried to take from the cinematic sequence that we designed here at Just Cause. Myself and Ken O'Hara put together the action sequence that was in where Wesker throws his glasses, and that was actually borrowed from an idea from Koichi Sakamoto in the movie Drive, directed by Steve Wang, which then later was done again in Blade, in the original Blade. And then we, took it again. But I actually told Koichi, I said, hey, we're going to take your glasses idea. And anyways, so that whole sequence, I actually heard an interview with Paul Anderson saying that he saw the cinematics and he loved it, and they wanted to copy it. So, of course, I'm flattered that he chose that scene and chose to copy it. Unfortunately, after seeing the movie, I think it wasn't copied and executed as well as it could have been. Not to brag, but I think I could have done better for him and his team. So it was disappointing. Of course, copying is the best flattery, but in this case, it wasn't executed as well as it could have been, and just a little disappointed that he didn't give me a call to help him out with that.
Translating to everyone. Bom, pessoal, a primeira pergunta da Bruna que eu li para ele em inglês, né, sobre Operation Raccoon City. Just Cause fez a dublagem, mas como ele não participou muito ativamente disso, ele não ficou ali nas sessões, ele não lembra, né, muita coisa, ele não lembra muita coisa, o nome dos atores. Eu até perguntei o nome da atriz que fez a Berta, e ele disse que não lembra, que depois até ele pode tentar ver pra gente, né, se ele consegue arrumar o nome dela, porque eu, né, Red Queen particularmente, eu estudei a língua alemã por muito tempo, e por isso até eu tenho essa coisa com a Berta, porque eu acho muito interessante a língua, e eu achei o sotaque dela maravilhoso. Então, como eu disse pra ele, foi uma pergunta mais pessoal. Depois eu perguntei pra ele o que ele achou dos filmes, e ele falou que assistiu todos, menos o 3, que ele não assistiu inteiro, e que o quarto filme tem aquela cena, né, a cena copiada do 5, né, que é quando o Wesker tira os óculos, que na verdade aquela cena foi tirada de um filme que depois foi copiada pelo Blade, que depois foi copiada no Resident Evil 5, que depois foi copiada também no filme, mas que, assim, ele gostou, se sentiu muito lisonjeado, afinal de contas a cópia é o melhor elogio, né, e ele disse que, apesar disso, não foi muito bem executado, e que ele lamenta só que o Paul Anderson não tenha ligado para ele para fazer melhor, para ele poder fazer melhor. E que, assim, como ele é muito ligado ao universo dos jogos, ele ficou um pouco decepcionado pelo caminho que os filmes seguiram, né? Que são filmes bons de ação. É a mesma opinião da maioria.
98% dos filmes Resident Evil pensam nisso. Né?
Exatamente.
1% defende, 1% xinga e 98% fica nessa de ser melhor.
É verdade. So, Reuben, what do you think of Wentworth Miller's version of Chris Redfield in Resident Evil Afterlife, the fourth film?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Wentworth Miller did Chris Redfield in Resident Evil Afterlife, the fourth film by Paul Anderson.
Yes, right.
What do you think?
No, I thought you did a good job. Actually, I was impressed by that. I as a fellow Chris actor, I thought the casting was okay. I didn't think it was that bad. No complaints there. The only complaints I think were just how some of the action sequences were executed. That's action. I've had the honor to work with the best. Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung and James Cameron, and I have a high expectations when it comes to action. So I'm very strict when it comes to watching that stuff. So no, I thought the film had some amazing action sequences. It was really cool and all, but and the performances were pretty good. Acting wise, I think they did a good job. I just think when it came to the action, could have done better.
So you think Wentworth did a great Chris? You are the best person to answer this question because many people disagree about it. Some people think he's great as Chris, but some people think he sucks as Chris. I like Wentworth as Chris. I think he's just like Chris from Code Veronica, for example. He's not that strong and very full of muscles. He's a more sensitive guy and more a guy who handles guns much more than having muscles, for example.
Right. No, yeah, I thought he did it. Like I said, I thought he did a good job. I thought it was well done.
Ok. Bom, eu perguntei o que ele achou do Wentworth Miller como o Chris, e ele disse que o elenco foi muito bom e que o Wentworth fez um papel muito bom. Na verdade, todo o elenco fez. O único problema dele mesmo é com as cenas de ação. Ele insistiu mais uma vez que podia ter sido melhor. Ok. Let's finish with one more question.
Okay, last question.
Okay, last question. Do you still keep in touch with the other actors who worked with you in Resident Evil 5?
Yes and no. For the most part, I haven't spoken with Nina or actually Alan in a while. I know Alan he shot a short film. Alan played, of course, you guys interviewed him. He played, what was his role again? Sorry. I just know
Ricardo Irving.
Irving, that's right, Irving.
Yes.
And Nina played Excella.
Yes.
Ken Lally, I see from time to time. He plays, he played Wesker in the motion capture. Patricia Lee played Jill. Actually, I saw her for the first time today. She came into our new office, and took a tour. So it's been, a few months since I saw her. But overall, it's a tight industry. We see each other. Everybody stays busy. So, I can say I still keep in touch.
Have you become friends, like Karen, for example? She did Shiva, so...
Yes. Sorry, I forgot to mention Karen. Karen, I keep in touch with all the time. We're constantly seeing each other, and she's great. She's been doing a lot since then. I think that was maybe her first motion capture job, but since then she's been very active in the motion capture world, doing... that wasn't her first motion capture job, but she always stays busy, and I see her all the time at auditions and also events. She does a lot of events with for SIGGRAPH and some of these big shows. So definitely.
Ok. Então, só traduzindo, sim, ele vê, não com tanta frequência, né? Perguntei se ele ainda mantém contato com os outros atores do mocap. Falou que algumas vezes ele vê um ou outro, a Nina ele vê menos, o Alan Groves também, mas que a Karen é a que ele mais vê, né? Então, assim, como é uma indústria é um campo muito pequeno, eles acabam se encontrando, né? Uma vez ou outra. So, Reuben, can you just tell us your future and current projects? So what can
Sure. The ones I can talk about, of course. There's quite a few I cannot quite disclose.
Okay.
But an upcoming game, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with, is Uncharted 3. I did a lot of stunt work in the game, primarily doing stunts for Nathan Drake. So I talked to Nolan North, who's the motion capture actor for Nathan Drake, and he's compiling a kind of behind-the-scenes book that's going to be released along with the game at the game stores and he gave me an interview last week, actually. He said there's going to be a little section in the book covering me, so that's exciting, and I can talk about it. I don't think the game's out yet, but it's coming soon. So lots of stunts and random roles in that one, but primarily Nathan Drake, stunts for Nathan Drake. What else? Games that already came out. Resistance 3, I did a little bit of work on that, playing some random stunts and characters. Same with Killzone 3 in games, when we're talking about games. And movies and television. I've been stunt coordinating a TV show for Disney called Kickin' It. It's a kids show that incorporates martial arts, and some of the episodes I coordinate. We go back and forth between my good friend Mitch Gould, and you can see my face in playing a character called Bobby Wasabi in the background on some posters and things. So the TV show, and then films. I'm in a bit part in I Am Number 4, Scott Pilgrim, and Green Hornet. Those are just quick little stunt roles. But hopefully you got all that. You can always check out my IMDb or my website to get the latest.
Ok. Bom, no campo de jogos, então, né, que é o que, na verdade, mais interessa ao pessoal, né, ele fez o mais novo Uncharted, né, as cenas de dublê essas fotos que ele fica passando pra gente. Reuben, these pictures you sent to us, they are... Oh my God!
Hey, everybody's got their thing, you know. You gotta be ready to roll with the punches.
Oh my God!
Coisa rápida, tá, pessoal?
Just very quickly. Okay, yes. Okay, we've seen enough. Certo, já vimos bastante disso, mas voltando ao meu raciocínio. Então, ele fez as cenas de dublê, né, algumas cenas de dublê de Uncharted. E ele falou pra gente ficar sempre de olho na página dele no IMDb, que é pra gente ver os últimos trabalhos dele. Então, a gente vai encerrando essa entrevista com o Reuben Langdon. So, Reuben, thank you so much for this interview. It was great. We love it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for being with us. And I'm so sorry we have scared you with that airport stuff.
No, that's okay. It can't be any scarier than the pictures I've been sending you. So.
Yes, you're right. You're very right.
So I don't mind. I hope to see 1,000 people at the airport when I show up.
Oh.
I demand
okay.
minimum 1,000.
Okay, so thank you so much for this opportunity.
And I look forward to seeing everybody in Brazil at Games World in March. So, obrigado.
De nada.
De nada. Okay.
Avisa pra ele que quando tiver pronto o programa a gente manda pra ele.
Okay, so as soon as the program is ready and edited, we are gonna send it to you so you can watch it.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Cool.
Bom, pessoal, então a gente vai encerrando mais um Resident TV. Esperamos que vocês tenham gostado desse programa. Depois a gente vai colocar a versão editada no site, para que vocês possam conferir em alta qualidade, porque a gente está gravando em alta qualidade. Que às vezes a gravação do Justin não é tão boa, né? A transmissão do Justin. Mas depois, talvez amanhã, né? A gente já consiga colocar.
Ou então a gente primeiro vai colocar a legenda. Vamos
analisar. Vamos ver, a gente vai pensar. A gente vai conversar a respeito. E aí a gente vai fazer o melhor possível para que vocês tenham a melhor recordação
e de novo,
possível
antes
desse
que digam, eu não tô puto, não tô com cara de puto, nada disso, tá? Que primeiro eu não falo muito bem inglês, então a Red levou o programa aí com tranquilidade, eu fiquei meio quieto e tal, mas também pela parte técnica, como a gente explicou no começo, a gente teve que trocar de lugar 5 minutos antes de começar o programa, então chegou visita aqui, né? Então,
aniversário da minha mãe.
A gente teve que subir. E eu tô assim, olha pra câmera, olha pro chat, olha pro programa, olha pro Skype, então não tô brabo, não tô de mau humor, nada, tá? A partir do próximo programa eu volto a falar.
Com certeza.
Beleza?
Bom, então aguardem, o programa é editado, a gente vai fazer o melhor trabalho possível e mais uma vez a gente agradece Reuben Langdon, agradece a audiência e a gente vai encerrando. Beijo pra todo mundo. Kisses everyone. Bye.
Reuben.
Bye bye.
Valeu.
Resident Evil Database. The right place for true Resident Evil fans.